Welcome back to Jeffro's Game Room, and you might be able to tell from the title, I've got a special video for you guys today. I'll be sharing the game room with you guys, going to give you a full tour. Hope you guys enjoy. If you're not already subscribed, please do. Let's not waste any time. First off, we've got the PS1 collection and some notable titles that I enjoy playing are Driver 1 and 2, Gran Turismo 1 and 2, Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX, and of course the Tony Hawk Pro Skater Series 1 and 2 in particular. And on top of one of the game shelves, we've just got some random trinkets and some game posters off to the side. Can't have a game room without posters, of course. And if you're paying attention, you may notice I'm really into racing games, so I've got a steering wheel here for the PS2, Xbox, GameCube, such and such, you know. And then we've got the other steering wheel for the PS4 and the PS3. Moving along to the PS4 games, some titles I really enjoy. Rock Band 4, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Ratchet and Clank, Gran Turismo Sport, of course into the racing games a lot, and Mud Runner, Tetris Effect, just a few of them. And just off to the side and behind my PS Vita, we've got a small physical Vita collection. Most of my games are digital on the Vita. Just below that, we've got the PS3 games, and the racing games, of course, is a reoccurring thing in my collection. I do love racing games, in particular like Gran Turismo 5 and 6, the MotorStorm games, Need for Speed, and all that stuff. And we got a nice Game Boy fanny pack that I got a really good deal on. Below the PS3 games, we've got the PS2 games, and this is the largest part of my PlayStation collection, just because the PS2 right now is just super cheap to collect for. So if I see a cheap game, I often buy it, even if it's a game I never played. You know, it gives me an opportunity to try something new. So yeah. Now, some games that aren't racing games that I really enjoyed, you know, like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, the Underground series, Dave Mirra Pro BMX 2, Matt Hoffman Pro BMX 2, Downhill Domination, Super Monkey Ball, you know, stuff like that. Just in front of the PS2 games, we've got a little bit of a Game Boy collection as well as some stray DS games. And of course we've got some more posters, mostly Grand Theft Auto posters. And just off to the side here we've got some older stuff like the Sega Genesis. Got some sketching in there right now. We got the original Nintendo just off to the side of that. A PS4 that I'm attempting to fix for a friend. It's got a blown fuse inside. And some comic books, VHS, you know, Fight Stick for the PS1. And I've got a really nice tube television, a Sony Trinitron. That's got all the older stuff hooked up to it. Just over to the side of that, we've got the Super Nintendo and the N64. The N64's got some Mario Kart 64 in there right now, and Super Nintendo's got Zelda Ocarina of Time. Just below that, we've got the Atari 2600. And some handhelds. We've got the DS Lite, a PSP 1000, and a new 3DS. Over here we have a really weird Thrustmaster controller for the PS2. We use that for MX vs ATV and Off-Road Fury. And just beside that, some Rock Band and Guitar Hero controllers. Just below the tube television we've got the PS1 with some Dukes of Hazzard. Love that game. Beside that, we've got the original Xbox, and above that, the PlayStation 3D display. And just below all that stuff, I've got a couple more consoles. One in particular, the Retron 5. Super interesting console, allows you to emulate a lot of cartridge games. I mostly use it as a Game Boy player, essentially. We've got some Pokemon Fire Red in there, but it does my other consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, stuff like that. Beside that, we've got the Wii, and just below that we have a VHS player. So you might be wondering where all the wires are. Try to do my best managing the wires and keeping them tidy. We've got all the power supply down at the bottom there, and then we've got a composite switcher for the older consoles and a component switcher for the slightly newer consoles. In the cupboard off to the other side, I've got all the different types of controllers for whatever console I may need them for. I keep them in bags to keep them clean and keep them in good condition. That way I don't have to constantly dust them off or clean them. It just keeps them in good order. Down below on the other side of the room, we've got a couple subwoofers and some speakers, another power bar for this half of the room, and some more storage for some miscellaneous controllers. I've got a basket full of controllers that either need to be repaired or are being used for parts. Might be hard to see, but I've got a Hori fight stick in the background there. Mostly use it for the PS3, but it does work for some games on the PS4. Moving along, we've got the surround sound system. We've got one of my race reviews running in the background. Make sure to check that out on the channel as well. Behind my Acer monitor, we've got a charging dock for the controllers and for the Move controllers as well. Over to the side, we've got my 4TB hard drive, and beside that you may notice the VR headset. And then over to the other side we have the charging dock for the PS3 controllers. And I've got my PlayStation camera mounted on a mic stand just behind the monitor. Over here we've got some strategy guides and manuals, and got some shelves up on the wall with some toys and trinkets, some Guitar Hero stuff, some Star Wars stuff, some Nintendo stuff, just random things. Shout out to all the Blue Jays fans out there. Some more stuff over here, some cool lunch boxes, other small toys, and I've got a collection of plug and play consoles between SpongeBob and Pac-Man and Spider-Man, Star Wars. Above that we've got some Hot Wheels, my favorite ones being the Rocket League Hot Wheels, but always fun to collect Hot Wheels. And just a few more consoles to show you. We got the PS2 behind the PlayStation 3D display. We got some Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 in there right now. Really fun game to play. I've got my modded white and blue controller plugged into the PlayStation Vita TV, and that of course is plugged into this television, as you can see here. Just over to the side of the PS2 we've got the Nintendo Switch, and we got the 8-bit Do SN30 Pro Plus controller. Beside the Switch we've got the PS3 and the PS4, my two most played consoles for sure. And we've got a cell phone holder for when I'm doing streams. I can see the chat. And on the keyboard tray for my desk I've got an IBM ThinkPad, which is running Windows XP. And over to the farther side of the room I've got a workstation where I do gaming repairs or gaming mods. Currently I have a N64 cartridge that has a save state chip that is no longer good and I'm replacing. We got a nice chair here that doubles as a storage, keeps some extra consoles in there. And then some more Guitar Hero and Rock Band stuff. Some headphones. Drum set for Rock Band. We got Squirtle hanging out up here. Some more posters. More comic books. Moving on to the other game shelf, we've got most of the Nintendo games on this side, starting with the Nintendo Switch games. I don't have a huge collection, but I do have the more notable titles. Some DS and 3DS games over here. And of course, one of my favorite consoles, the Nintendo. Many games that got me into gaming, including Super Mario Bros. 3. I remember playing that for hours before school every morning. Moving on to the Super Nintendo games. A lot of favorites as well here. We got Star Fox, F-Zero, Mario Kart, Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country. Tons of great games. Certainly a console that you don't want to miss out on. Moving on to the N64 games, you got some Zelda, Mario 64, Paper Mario, Pokemon Stadium, Donkey Kong 64, Perfect Dark, Star Wars Racer, Diddy Kong Racing, Beetle Adventure Racing, F-Zero X, and Cruisin' World. Obviously, huge into racing games. That's going to carry through to the other consoles as well. And we got some Wii games. Not a huge collection. Beside the Wii games, we have a few PC games, but nothing serious. And next to that, we've got the Sega Genesis collection. I really enjoy collecting for this console, mainly because I didn't grow up with the console. I had to resort to going to friends' houses in order to play it, so it's great to come back to it and enjoy it. Below the Sega Genesis games, we've got the PSP collection. Once again, lots of racing games here as well. But I also like collecting the UMD movies. It's a really weird form of media, and I just enjoy collecting for it. Over here we've got the PSP 2000. That's the one I actually connect to my television. Below that, some Atari games. And then we've got some Xbox games. Once again, another console I never owned when it came out. So collecting for it these days is another opportunity to go back to it. Alright, we're coming to the end of the tour here. I hope you guys enjoyed the closer look at my game room. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Anything that you want me to go a little more in depth on, anything like that. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. And I should point out that I did just move, so I'm going to have to do another game room tour. So stay tuned.